Thank you for joining us for this episode of Frog Talk, an Auction Frogs podcast series all about events and fundraising in a post-2020 world. For more information on Auction Frogs and the services we offer, visit auctionfrogs.org today.
It is Frog Talk. I'm Corey Michaels. First of all, Bobby, thank you so much for taking some time today. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing well. I mean, like all of us, just looking back on this last year going, what just happened? And, what do we do from here? And I know you're in that same boat.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, it's almost a full year from where the entire world, the fundraising world especially, completely flip-flopped, and now it's completely different, and it's been an interesting ride for sure.
Now, when all of this, started, I know what was going through my mind and all of our minds. What was going through your mind when all of this happened, literally a year ago, in making that transition?
Well, there was two things that popped in. First one was like, oh my gosh, nonprofits are going to lose a ton of money because they can't have events. We have been in events for over 20 years, and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And
right.
And then it was like, okay, find a way to help. How can I do something to help with this process? So those were the two things I thought. And I remember the day that I did my last auction, and I was on the West Coast, and it was flying back to the East Coast. I'm like, okay, there has to be a way. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn absolutely everything that I can about virtual fundraising and virtual events and broadcasting and streaming and all of these different components. And I was like, okay, that's what I can do with my time, because we weren't doing any work in the 3-4 months following kind of when the pandemic lockdown started. So I was like, okay, well, let's use this opportunity to educate ourselves, and then now transfer that education to helping nonprofits kind of make that leap into the next level of fundraising.
Well, and what do you think is one of the biggest things that you learned?
It's all about donor experience is what we're finding that makes an event successful or not successful. If it doesn't look good, if it doesn't feel good, and it's not easy to engage or interact with, then the donor's going to click out. Whereas we were in in-person events before, and donor didn't like what they see or like what they felt, they would have to get up from their table and walk out, and everybody in the room would see them. Now, a donor, they don't like what they see, and all they need to do is go up to that little mark on the end, on the corner, and click the X, and they're gone. And right. if an organization can't create a compelling broadcast that goes out there, as well as is telling that story that inspires the hearts of their donors, and then having someone like myself to be there to make that call to action, make the connection with the story, the impact, and the donation of the donor, then it'll fall flat, and then the nonprofit loses money. And I hate it when nonprofits lose money.
Well, absolutely. That's why we all do what we do, is bottom line is to make money for these nonprofits. Yes, we make a living, but we make a living helping others. And when others aren't succeeding, then we all take that personally.
Yeah. And there's so many different choices of career in life, and like yourself and myself and many colleagues of mine, is this is our passion. This is our purpose in life, to help make an impact in the world. And we've made this choice to be here to help nonprofits that are the ones on the front lines, especially in this past year, to truly make that impact in people's lives and animals' lives in this world. So it's like, let's do this better. Let's do this smarter. Let's make that impact that much bigger.
Okay. So I know for a lot of organizations last year, as scary as everything was, there was some that said, okay, let's jump on board and let's do a virtual event. There was others that clung on tight to trying to think that things were going to change and they were going to be able to do this in-person event. Well, for most of those, they were disappointed and didn't get to do it. So for a lot of those, they just didn't have a fundraiser in 2020. So now when they're looking at it, the dust has cleared a little bit, but we still are in a world where, okay, there's a virtual component that is if not fully virtual, some component of it virtual, I think forever to come through all of this. So for those holdouts, what advice would you give them, Bobby?
I would say just do it. Everybody else is doing it. It's becoming expected in the, especially in the marketplace. I mean, all of your donors, they are attending virtual events and they are giving at these virtual events. Uh-huh. And it's not so much that the event is raising a ton of money or it's matching what it did in their in-person event, but it's exposure. It's influencing these donors, and it's putting the brand out there that is the nonprofit. Like, look, we're doing good work, but we still need your help. And sometimes the need's bigger than ever, and we want you to be a part of this. So we're going to create this opportunity. We're going to create this experience for you to come in and be a part of this. And if you're a nonprofit that's not doing that, you are not competing in the marketplace. You're not even in the marketplace. Your donors are going to forget about you. And if they forget about you, guess what? They still have a philanthropic budget that they are going to spend. And if you're not doing a virtual event, they're not going to spend it on you.
Well, yeah, exactly. And here's the thing is, when you're scared about technology, I get it. I fully get that this has been a scary year for a lot of nonprofits. What do we do? Our donor base is older, whatever that has happened to be over the last year. I get that it has been rough, but doing nothing, I will guarantee you will always make more money doing a virtual event, doing something, than doing nothing at all.
That's absolutely right. I mean, 10 years ago, nonprofits just started taking credit cards. 5 years ago, there was nonprofits that still didn't even have a donate button on their website. So those things were scary. And that's the change, and that's the evolution in fundraising. And I mean, the revolution was sped up significantly, exponentially here in 2020 to where now, we should have been doing virtual events 5 years ago, but there was something like this COVID that popped up that, made it a necessity. So now nonprofits that are embracing this and they are, going full force on it, they're coming in with that energy and that excitement that this is going to be great because we're going to raise money to fund our mission, then they're the ones that are succeeding. And the ones that aren't doing it, I hate to say that, 2021, we're going to see a lot of nonprofits go out of business.
And that's sad. And none of us, I can guarantee you right now, anyone listening, the last thing we want is any cause to go out for lack of doing something, because what you're doing is good or you wouldn't be doing it. So we want you to succeed. And all of us are here to help. And with that, Bobby, how can folks follow you? How can they find out more information about what you do, my friend?
I'm all over the place. I'm proud to have stepped into that role as the virtual event fundraising expert, helping nonprofits kind of navigate this choppy waters that is the virtual event space, and help them to talk, speak about production, speak about virtual fundraising technologies, speak about the storytelling, marketing, all of those different components. And I do that through our Inspire Hearts brand. It's Inspire Hearts Fundraising, inspirehearts.com. That's one way to go through. If you want to see me and who I am, you can go to meetbobbyd.com. And those are all my links there, all my social links. You can see my LinkedIn where I'm constantly putting out content. We're always putting out content on our newsletter. And it's all, with the intention to help nonprofits fundraise better, fundraise more efficiently, fundraise more effectively, and continue to evolve, within the world. So, and it's also an opportunity for, if anybody has a question about virtual fundraising, you can schedule a time with me and I'll give you 20 minutes of my time for free, answer any questions that you have. And I want to try to help as many nonprofits as possible.
Well, Bobby, we always appreciate you, my friend, and you will see us in collaboration with Bobby many times over this year and years to come. So, Bobby, thank you so much.
Well, Steve, thanks for having me, and I do have to thank Auction Frogs because with Auction Frogs, it was my first virtual event that we had ever done, and Auction Frogs was our fundraising technology of choice, and it's been great to partner on many events after that and really kind of set forth the best practices of what virtual fundraising looks like. So thanks for having me on.
All right, Bobby, you take care, my friend.
You too.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Frog Talk, an Auction Frogs podcast series all about events and fundraising in a post-2020 world. For more information on Auction Frogs and the services we offer, visit auctionfrogs.org today.